Speed, another big issue here, right? You want to ensure that your site loads quick and is efficient because that's super important for ranking, especially these days. Just some of this recent data, 40% of consumers will leave a page that takes longer than 3 seconds to load, right? We're impatient. We want everything now. So 79% of shoppers who are dissatisfied with a site's performance say they're less likely to purchase from the same site again. I bet most of you have this experience. You've done this and you're like, nope, never again, right? You know that site. If you see that site again, you're like, nah, this site stinks. So it's a major factor in getting rewarded by Google. Site speed as a whole, page speed as well. Different pages are going to load at different speeds. Some pages have a lot of images, a lot of videos that may take a lot longer. The site itself, in general, as a whole, may have sort of an overall average speed. You just want your site to be as blazing fast as possible. So you want to go check out your speed reports that are available in your Google Search Console. You can also see information about speed in your Google Analytics. And a fast site creates a better user experience, and Google's all about the user experience, as we talked about earlier. What are some easy things you can do to speed your things up? Hey, reduce the number of elements on a page. If you have 50 images, how about going with 5, right? And maybe point them to somewhere else. If you have a bunch of videos, instead of loading or embedding all the videos, what about loading a picture, like a small GIF of a video, looks like a video, but then when you click on it, it opens up the video in like a pop-up or something, you know, a little light box or something. So you're not loading all the videos, because every time you load a video, especially if you're embedding it from from YouTube or from Vimeo, for example, I need a Yahoo. It takes time for it to go get it from YouTube. It takes time. So get rid of that. So get rid of or reduce the number and the size of images on a page, optimize the images on a page, use newer image formats. You can use a tool like webspeedtest.cloudinary.com to test all your images to see, are they the right size? Can they be reduced without losing the integrity of the image? They can get what they call over-optimized sometimes. You also want to minimize or remove any unneeded or unused CSS or other code. So if you've got, for example, a bunch of plugins installed in your WordPress site and they're active, but you're not using them, well, guess what? Those plugins tend to add in JavaScript files and CSS files that just adding code and time for your site to load. Shut them off. Get rid of them. The less stuff you've got loading, the quicker your site's going to be. You can see if you've got any unused CSS per page. You can get their full version at unused-css.com. That can give you some idea on how much of the CSS that you've got on your site is being used. Now, that if for free, they'll let you test a single page. Problem is that, some CSS, you might use part of it on one page and a different part of it on a different page. So to really understand how much of it you aren't using, that tool can really help, but you have to pay for it to full blown. What's nice about that tool, though, is it'll take your whole site. It'll look at the CSS that is used and isn't used, and it will provide you with a slimmed down version of your CSS so that only the stuff that you're using is now loading and all the other stuff goes away. Really helpful. And then use caching, right? You want to use caching, CDNs, things like that, ways to keep so that, like your logo, for example, right? Your logo is up on the first time someone calls up the logo, it's got to be downloaded. But if it's cached, the next page they go to, they don't have to download it from your server again. It's sitting on their machine when they load it. So caching can be a big help in speeding things up. And here are some tools that you could use to see how slow or fast things are. PageSpeed Web Dev is Google's testing tool. You can go to that page. I can go and type in, I'll go back to Brothers. Now, if there's enough live traffic, I forget what the threshold is in Google, you'll get real user experience information, right? So if I would put IBM in here, I'll get that kind of data. If you don't have a lot of data, this is probably the majority of smaller local businesses. They don't have enough people come in. You can see here that we're getting a performance of 44, right? SEO looks great. Best practices look great. There's some accessibility issues and some performance issues. I was talking about largest contentful paint. Looks like there's some big shifts going on from some layout issues here we've got to look at. But this tells you. Now, again, this is more you got to know what this is all about, right? This is not for the average person to just come in and go, oh, I can fix that. You kind of got to get a developer involved. I have a developer. I've told them we got to fix this stuff. But this is really going to give you some indication of, just take a look. If this stuff is really bad, or these numbers are really high, all in the red, that's a problem, right? So we're at a low performance level here. Not right, very high for SEO, thankfully, right? Best practices, we do good. But that performance, that's a big issue. Google telling us it's an issue. We've got to go and fix it. And fix whatever is wrong as fast as possible. GTMetch, another one of my favorite tools. What I like about this tool is it's built in some of the other information. So here's take a look at this one real quick. This was one that we ran a search on the other day, and it's got an A, which is great, right? Looks good, got an A, but notice it's got, hey, it does have a lot of images. It's got 17 megabytes of images. So why is that? It's surprising it's loading so quickly. They're probably doing something called like lazy loading, but that's an enormous amount of images that are loading up. Can we reduce that? Can we optimize those images better? 67% of the content of that page is actually an image. That could be a problem. And this is just the desktop. On the mobile, could be even worse. If you look at some of these other sites that we run, look at this one here. Kellogg Kimsey has an F, right? An F, 3.1 seconds. All this stuff here. We'll get into what that is in a minute. Performance is really bad. It's just not working out for them. They need to make things quicker. Look, 23.1 megabytes of other stuff. Something's going on with this website. They need some help. Otherwise, they're not ever going to get ranked. So web page test, tools.pingdom.com are also well-known, well-recommended tools. Take a look at least a couple of these and just kind of use your own.